Hello, everybody. Good evening and Merry Christmas. Tonight is uh, Christmas Eve, and we're so excited for everybody to be here. There's this very cool function in the chat where I'm going to bring it up so everyone can be in the chat and on the screen right now. And there's one thing that I want everyone to do right now is to say, if you guys are in the chat, just say Merry Christmas to everybody, and just like have this nice, welcome to everybody here. It's really nice that you guys are all here watching. I really, really appreciate it. Me and Doug are really excited to give you this amazing show today. As always, we love giving you guys advice, and we love every time you guys come here and spend some time with us. Awesome. I see you guys. Yes. Hey. Okay. So, let me just introduce Doug Dane really, really quickly. And the whole purpose behind the show, and I just want to kind of give you guys a little reminder of why we started this show. Doug knows that you guys want to be better and do better, and that's probably maybe the reason why you guys are here. And in order to do that, you guys need a clear direction that just works. The problem is like you just haven't found the right answers, which could make you feel very frustrated or stuck. And Doug, the one thing that latched me to Doug is that Doug believes that it shouldn't be so hard to find the answers you want to become successful. And like being successful shouldn't be so difficult. And he has just opened my mind. He understands how you feel. He's been there, and Doug has struggled for so long with uncertainty, looking for advice and answers so he could do better. Life's just too short for second guessing and screwing around. And it's just like, I agree with that. Doug's got the answers. He's been through it all, and he's been mentoring people for 30 years, which is why he knows how to get you unstuck. Discovering your turning point tonight, point of the show, so that you can make you feel more confident. When you feel better, you do better. Doug's story and experiences covers a lot of ground and most issues you are probably facing. He made it his mission to figure out how to break free from the emotional prison he was in so he can guide the others the same. Life's too short to be a struggle, and there's a better way. And I'm so glad that you guys are all here on Christmas Eve, because taking the time just to come here tonight, it's amazing. Tonight could be your turning point. So I'm really glad. So no further ado, let me introduce Doug Dane, the man of the show, the star, and I'm really glad he's here tonight with us. Hello, Doug.
Tyson, my man.
Hey, see all those
you did a good job there. That was cool.
Yeah, that's all. I'm a big
You're getting better. You're just getting better and better and better. You're gonna get what do they say? You're gonna get discovered. You'll be in a parking lot at Walmart, and somebody's going, "Are you Tyson Greenan?" And then you're going to be on your own show. So Gary Vee will have nothing on you. Tyson was influenced by Gary Vee, and he got this idea for the show. Anyway, I want to welcome all of you, whether you're live here right now on Christmas Eve, wherever you are, or whether you're watching the recording. And Tyson kind of mentioned in the opening why I'm doing this, and we just kicked the show off. This is our third episode. And we were talking about, we didn't even look at it. I mean, I didn't even look at the calendar to notice that the next Thursday and this Thursday, next Thursday was Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna do the show anyway, because I think a lot of people definitely struggle at this time of year. So tonight we want to talk a little bit about this whole notion of dragging your loneliness around, I call it. And I wanted to put a show together. I wanted to find a vehicle where I could reach people in a way wherever I was, anywhere in the world. So tonight, obviously, I'm here in my home at Christmas. Tyson is actually at his mom's house doing the show. And the great thing about technology is we go from wherever we want, which is really, really awesome. And oh, hey, Michael. Michael and the whole family are watching. That's really cool. Like, I can see everybody here. Tyson's is cool. Sandra, Emily, this is really good. Keep putting the love in the chat here. I got my glasses. I can see most of it. I got to maybe have to lean in a little bit to my laptop here. But anyway, it's been on my heart for a long time. I got an idea. It was actually 5 years ago on Christmas. It was December 27th. Actually, I was in church for one of the very few times I'd been in church. That's another story. But anyway, I got this idea And I guess I kept sitting on it a little bit. I kept playing with the idea a little bit. I kept talking to people that I confided in. And I met Tyson and his family and his friends, and we got talking. His partner Brandon, we got talking, and they had this idea: let's do a TV show where we can do it virtually anywhere. And so with technology, we're able to do that. And the reason I wanted to do it is because, and I'm not saying this from an ego perspective, I'm saying this from a confidence perspective. I have been through the shit. I've been through everything except for war and doing heroin. I did every other drug but heroin. I'm 57 years old now, and for the longest time in my life, I went through so many different things, struggled with so many different things, up, down, all around. And all the while, I didn't realize it, I was accumulating this experience and this wisdom. Because the one thing that I did differently, because people always go, Doug, like, how did you get through what you went through? And for those of you who don't know me, I went through a very dark, violent childhood filled with physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, self-abuse, violent alcoholic parents. I mean, it was really, really dark. Ended with my kidnapping at 15, and then I got into my own dark part of my life, which was drugs, alcohol, and all kinds of mistakes because of that, And people go like, how did you survive, and how did you get to where you are? And then some people look at me like I'm something special. And I always say, there's nothing really special about me or different about me than you, but I did make some special choices. I did make some decisions. And one of them was I was going to figure this shit out, because I didn't like what I was going through. I didn't like what I was seeing. And as I got older and older and continued to try to figure this all out, I had a strong desire to be better, to do better, much like I think all of you, if you're watching tonight. So anyway, I just thought I love Tyson's idea, so let's do this TV show. And we fell in love with the idea. It took me a little long to get it going. My own fear and doubt and insecurities played a part in that. And I stalled, I dragged it out. And one of the things I was doing throughout that process leading up to the launch of the show was, for the longest time, I'd really been dragging my shit around, dragging my loneliness around. And so tonight, what I want to talk to you about is this idea of getting rid of the feelings of being lonely or unhappy with yourself or not liking yourself. It's ironic because it was 4 years ago tonight that I just dropped my daughter Eden off at home. We'd gone out and done some Christmas shopping. So every Christmas Eve, I like to go out and do shopping. I do most of my shopping on Christmas Eve. I just like the vibe of it. I love the feel of it. And a tradition that I had developed over the years for me was I would go out for lunch. I'd do Christmas shopping. I'd take myself out for lunch. And I always bought myself a Christmas present. And so it was December 2016. I had left my marriage. I left Eden's mom and her behind in the middle of 2015. And it was 2016, and I'm dropping Eden off at her mom's. And man, oh man, I felt really alone. I dropped her off. I was weeping in the car as she walked in the home, and I had all kinds of things going on. And I went to my favorite restaurant to have lunch, and I was sitting at the bar where I usually sit. It's called the Bread Bar. It's in Guelph. It's an amazing place. Love the people there. Love the vibe. Love the food. Anyway, I went there for lunch, and there's only one other person in the restaurant. It was about 2:00 in the afternoon. They were going to close at 4. And I'm sitting there all by myself, and I'm looking around. I'm going, look at me, you poor bugger. I was sad. I was filled with self-pity. I was filled with some loathing, self-loathing, guilt, shame. I felt terrible that I wasn't, with my family and with Eden at Christmas time. And it's ironic, tonight, the show was this topic, and today I was driving around thinking, shit, it was 4 years ago. I'm sitting there in the Bread Bar, and I'll never forget it. I'm sitting there, and so I'm weeping tears are streaming down my face, Abe and Ben are looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? And I was on my phone, and I'd always wanted to go to church on Christmas Eve and get Eden to go with me. And so I'd asked her, I said, Eden, would you go with me tonight? She goes, no, I don't want to go, Dad. And, the previous year I said, would you go with me tonight? No, I don't want to go. And anyway, so I'm on my phone, and there's a friend of mine, Pete, who was a really strong influence on me in 2016. 2016 was the Eeyore year. I was dragging my ass around, just moping. Hi, it's me. I was just this sad, mopey, feeling sorry for myself kind of guy. And I'm sitting there, and Pete was a guy that I would see at Starbucks. I'd walk into Starbucks every morning, get my coffee, and the joke at Starbucks is that's Pete's office. And he would be there, and I'd grab my coffee, and I'd sit down. He'd go, hey, Doug, how are you? Go, hi, Pete. I'm fine. How are you? And we would talk. And, Pete he's a Christian. And I guess the story is kind of fitting for tonight. He was a Christian, and he'd always quote scripture to me. I go, this guy's a bit weird, I loved him. He was such a good man, such a kind man. But the whole scripture thing, I was really uncomfortable. Anyway, so I'm thinking about Pete. I want to go to church on Christmas Eve. I want Eden to come with me. She won't. And so I text Pete. I go, hey, Pete, what church do you go to on Christmas Eve? And all I was doing is I was just thinking, where could I go? I didn't know where I was going to go. I wanted to go. I said, I'm going to go, but I didn't know what to do. And I'm sending him a message. I'm texting him. And so I asked him, what church does he go to? Hey, Andy. And his message back to me is, we'd love you to join us. It starts at 7:00. And I'm going, I didn't friggin' ask to go to church with you. I'm not going to church with you. But in my heart, I'm going, I want to go to church with Pete and his family. And so I'm start to write the message back. And I start writing the message, and I go, delete, delete, delete. I start writing the message, delete, delete, delete. And so I've got this inner battle going on. My heart is saying, I want to go to church with Pete. But my paradigms and my own self-image and all the junk and all my loneliness, all the crap that I've been dragging around, I was going, you don't want to go there. I was very uncomfortable with the idea of it, And so anyway, this went back and forth for probably 5-10 minutes or so. I started a message, delete, started a message, delete. And he sends me another message. He said, we'll pick you up around 6:30. And all I wanted to do was type yes. And each time I went to type yes, I couldn't say yes. And I couldn't say yes. And I attempted, I started a message and I deleted. I'd start a message and I deleted. And then he sent me another message and I said, okay, I'll go. And so I went. He picked me up, him and his wife, and we drove to a church here in Guelph. It's called Lakeside. And I'm not real comfortable in churches. Quick funny story. I was on a trip in Ottawa, and it was around this time of year, actually. I was up, the National Gallery in Ottawa sits up on a hill. And down below, there's a street, and across from the National Gallery is this big, old, beautiful Catholic church. And Eden's mom and I said, let's go check out the church. We like to look at churches because of the architecture and stuff like that. And so we go down to the church, and we enter the church, and it's 4:30 or so on a Sunday afternoon, and we go in, and the church is empty, and we sit down. And all of a sudden, people start streaming in, a couple people at a time, a few more people. And I'm looking around. There's a lot of people coming to this church to, kind of look at the church. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Then I figured it out. It's Sunday. It's almost 5:00, and Mass is about to start. And the church fills up. And now it's so busy, we can't get out of the church. People just start sitting down around us. And we're in the service. And it's all in French. Now, I'm just telling you the story because there was a part of the service that was coming. For some reason, whenever I'm in churches, I sweat. And I've had some memories when I was young, when I was abused. I think there was something that went on when I was young and going to Sunday school. But I don't have a solid memory, but I have a feeling. Anyway, whenever I'm in churches, I sweat. My hands perspire, like everything. I'm very uncomfortable. Anyway, the part that I don't like about the Catholic service that's coming, it's coming. I know it's coming, and I'm getting more and more uncomfortable. And it's the part where you have to turn around and greet others and shake their hand and say, "Peace be with you." And so I'm wiping my hands on my pants because my palms are sweaty. I'm so freaking nervous because I don't want to shake your hand because my hands are sweating. I was so uncomfortable that my palms are sweating. I was so embarrassed to shake your hand. And this part is coming. So I got this whole church thing going on. Anyway, so I digress, but I go to church with Pete and we walk in. It's Christmas Eve and it's a big, beautiful church. It's a non-denominational church. And there's this beautiful music playing and people streaming. Of course, there's a beautiful feeling and a beautiful energy and a beautiful vibe going on. And I sat there. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna relax. And I think I was with somebody that I felt comfortable with. And for the first time in a long time, I actually felt comfortable. And I was noticing what I was noticing. I was noticing how my physical state was. I was waiting for the sweat to come. I would get so self-conscious that I was going to sweat that would cause me to sweat. And it was interesting. Here I am, and I'm quite calm and relaxed. And it was one of the nicest nights that I had. And I realized something that night. I realized that, and tonight's show is not about God or religion. I'm not a religious person, but I now have a very strong connection or relationship with God where I have conversations with him all the time. And I realized one thing, and it came to me about a year ago. I finally figured out what was always missing in me. And so one of the reasons for loneliness is there's something missing in you. There's something missing in you. You'll get into relationships to fill up what's missing in you. You'll compromise yourself and not be yourself because of what's missing in you. And so, there's things that happened to you when you were young. You didn't have to go through trauma and abuse like me. You could have just been in a regular family. But there's a lot of things that you probably didn't get that you should have got when you were young. Or there's some things that you got that didn't really suit you, fit you, belong to you that you got. And it just got you feeling like there was something missing. And so, we get into relationships to, kind of fill ourselves up in the areas that were empty. We get into business relationships and partners with people. We make these compromises with ourselves. And so what I realized that really came to me was that what was missing in me was I didn't have a relationship with God. And so I went on that road. And I started having these conversations, and I started hearing things. And I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but one time we'll do a show on what God said. I've got five situations, 5 things that happened where I knew that God was talking to me. I kind of joke with a friend of mine, Kim in Ireland. I got a note from God one time. I was in a coffee shop. And a lady came over and she interrupted my friend having coffee. She says, "Listen, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't want anything. You're probably going to think this is really weird and really strange. But I was over there getting my coffee and I saw you and God told me to write you this note." And she hands me the note. And I read the note and man, oh man, and I'll read you the note sometime. I read the note and it was pretty much what I had been talking to God about. It was almost, it was one paragraph in the note where it was like almost word for word. I told Kim this story, and she's very deep faith and strong relationship with God. She goes, "Oh my gosh, you got to know from God. I didn't get a note from God. I believe in God more than you, and I didn't get a note. You got to know. What the hell? I got to know." Hey, we'll talk more about that. But that's one area that I would definitely go down that road. And I'm not talking about religion. Okay, I don't believe in religion. The nice thing, Pete, another friend of mine, Jay, that mentored me in my exploration of theology, scripture, studying the Bible, going to church, Christianity. I don't know a lot about religions, but what Jay says, he says, you're like an infant in this. And literally, I was an infant in my own relationship and my own spirituality, because I I went to Sunday school up until I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I remember that, maybe 8. So I had no preconceived notions of theology or scripture or religion or anything like that. But I did go down a path in my work of really understanding mindset and how our mind works. And a lot of the great teachers, writers, philosophers always point back to God. Always. Now, they're careful about it the way they do it in their books, because they don't want to maybe offend the masses, and so they have to kind of go down the middle. But if you talk to them, if you had an opportunity to meet them or interview them, I bet you any money they would agree that everything points back to God. So I was seeing these pointings back to God. It was showing up. I was seeing it more and more in what I was studying and reading. Luckily for me, I don't have any preconceived doctrines, dogmas, beliefs, rules, vows, anything that comes from religion. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a relationship with God. Tonight, when I'm done, I'm going to do what I did in 2016. I was on Netflix. I was home alone on Christmas Eve. So Tyson was asking me earlier. He goes, "How do you spend your time?" And at Christmas, I said, "I'm alone." I usually see Eden. She'll come over Christmas afternoon to open presents. She goes back home for Christmas dinner, and then she comes over for different times. This year, tomorrow, she's going to come over tomorrow night. She'll be at home all day with her mom and dinner, and then she'll come over tomorrow, and then she'll be here for 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm really comfortable alone. I'm really loving it. I got the fire going, the lights are on. After this, I'm going to watch a movie. I really enjoy being by myself. I actually really like myself. Now, I'd heard you should like yourself and you should love yourself. I go, that's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, like, logically, I'm going, yeah, I should. I go, how the hell do you do that? Nobody tells you. They go, you should like yourself. You should love yourself. Learn to love yourself, and everything will be better. Well, nobody tells you how to frickin' do that. Well, I figured out how to do it. Anyway, the movie I'm going to watch is called The Son of God. I was on Netflix 4 years ago this time, and I'm going through Netflix to find a movie, and then there's this Son of God movie, and I want to hit enter and watch. I'm holding the remote like this. I'm going, and same thing, something's stopping me and something's drawing me to it. And so what I've learned to do is to follow my heart and follow the feeling, not the negative feelings I had about myself. And so I watched the movie, and I really encourage you to watch it. It's called Son of God. It's basically, the story starts with Jesus being born, and then it goes through his life and ends with his crucifixion. And man, the actor in it is so unbelievably good. He's so good. I'm watching the movie, and I feel like he's my brother, And I'm watching the movie, and then he's crucified, and as he's leading up to his crucifixion, like I was just hurting so much for him. I literally fell in love with Jesus that night. And when the movie was over, I said, I'm going to act like Jesus and love like Jesus. And that's my affirmation, one of my affirmations. Now, do I do that all the time? No, but I aspire to act that way and love that way. But my point of that is I was just so moved. And I think that's a good place for you to go. I'm not talking about going to religion. I'm talking about going to your Father. So one of the keys to letting go of loneliness and this whole idea is I want you to meet your other self. Okay? One of the authors I follow, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, he wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil. And his mentor, Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world at the time, Carnegie said, at the time of your greatest crisis, you'll be introduced to your other self. And your other self is your authentic self. Your other self is your God-made self, not the man-made self, the God-made self. And so I started meeting my other self. And as I started to discover that, I realized there's a few things that I needed to do. Number one was I had to forgive myself. And what I learned how to do that. I didn't know how to do that. Everybody told me you should forgive yourself, Doug, for all the things you've done and all the things you've been through. Forgive the people that had abused you, etc. I didn't really know what all that meant. But what I realized as I got into this relationship with God was I started understanding the difference between the Old Testament, the New Testament, the crucifixion of Jesus, and I was forgiven. That was it. That's all there was to it. There was nothing more. I was forgiven. And I continue to be forgiven. And that's the New Testament. That's the new deal. That's, Jesus' crucifixion. That was a trade-off. And I go, well, I can do that. And so I had to keep reminding myself that was the new covenant. That was the new deal. And so I made a deal with myself that I was forgiven. And the other key to forgiveness is forgetting. That's true forgiveness, forgetting. And so how you forget to forgive is you stop using your memory against yourself and stop going backwards in order to bring the past into your future and just, you churn over all this guilt and stuff. And so your other self is your authentic self. Your ego, your false self, from a spiritual perspective, the enemy, there's a battle going on in you. You're trying to do better. You're trying to be better. You're trying to, contribute to the world and do your thing and fulfill your purpose, why you're here. And as you move towards that, if it's really truly what's on your heart and your mind, well, the enemy's pulling you another direction. Napoleon Hill called it drifting. The devil said the devil causes you to drift away from your definite purpose. And so I think what you want to start to do is start meeting your other self and start hanging around with the other self. And so as I started hanging around and discovering my authentic self, I started to like myself. And I enjoyed hanging around with myself. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Something else I had in my notes here.
I was going to say, that's amazing, Doug. One of the coolest things that I've ever heard is if you really want to make an impact on the world, you got to start with yourself. And the first thing you should start doing is being able to clean your room. Try to conquer an environment that you can control, Mm-hmm. I find so much juiciness in that. And the coolest part is we actually have a guest coming on in a few moments here.
Okay.
And one of her questions was, is it about, she just wants to know about her life profession, and she has some big dreams, but not sure how to reach them. She's just hopping back on in a few seconds here. So,
okay.
But just like
that's great. Well, listen, yeah, we'll bring Kat on. We dropped the link, I think, or we will drop the link to get. Obviously, we did because Kat's coming on. I really want to encourage you to come on here live with me. I wanted to create an environment, a place where you could do that, where you'd be surrounded by like-minded people and supportive people. So I know that everybody is watching right here, right now, tonight, even the people that are watching the recording, I know the people here want to support you. They're behind you. They wouldn't be here. You could be anywhere, right? It's Christmas Eve, pretty much all around the world. It's Christmas in Australia. But you could be anywhere, but you're here. And so the people that are here, they're here to support you, because Tyson and I had a vision and an energy and a purpose and a passion about this show. And so the people that we're attracting are in absolute sympathy and harmony with you getting where you want to go. And the other thing I want to get people to get over, and I do it by modeling it, I just try to be very open and tell the truth. I don't hide anything. I had a friend here for dinner last night. We were talking about, I said, I'm going to share some stuff on the show that's going to shock people. And I told my friend Danny was here for dinner, and I asked him, what's the worst thing that you ever did? Or what's the greatest thing you're ashamed of? And he shared it with me. He shared it with me after I shared mine with him. And he looked at me like he was shocked. I wasn't shocked because I'd forgiven myself. But I want to be really open and transparent because I want people to get over worrying about what freaking people think of them. we live in a world where we're so afraid of judgment and criticism and worrying what people are thinking and are we okay? And like, I want to get rid of that bullshit. Like I want to get rid of judgment for good. That's a mission that I'm on. And so I want you to come on the show, and I want you to, muster up the courage, like I did, to open up and tell the truth about who I really am and who I'm not, and where I've been and what I've done and the mistakes I've made and the challenge I've faced, because the truth shall make you free. And I'm telling you, if you can muster up the courage to get on here with me, I'll help you, number one. But number two, just coming on here is going to help you in a profound way. You have no idea, both short term and in the long run. So come on the show if you want to come on. I'd love to see you. All right.
And Kat is in the green room right now. If you guys want to get into the green room, just click the link in the chat. If you're having any problems, just message Doug on Facebook. Just DM him, and I'll be able to see it and be able to sort things out if you're having any trouble. But no further more, here's Kat. Okay.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm Kat. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Kat, how the hell did you get here? I don't even know you. How'd you get here?
Mike Fox. I'm here from Mike. He's my stepdad, and we were having a conversation earlier today, and he said you would be a great person to ask advice. So here I am.
Well, cool. Well, that's cool. I saw Mike on earlier here. He's a good man.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to know him. So you must be a wonderful person too. You got great energy, by the way.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous, out of my comfort zone, but that's good, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely good. Definitely. All right. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so I am in school, and I have a huge dream of becoming a home birth midwife, but my path there has been kind of rocky and unsure, and I'm just not sure that it's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel like if it's meant for me, it's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet, so I'm kind of just in a place where I can go so many different ways right now, but I just don't know what's right for me, and I just want to, I guess, get some guidance as to how to know and self-affirm that I'm doing the right thing, because it's really important to me that I pursue something where I'm helping people and something that I really love to do, and just I need something to fill my cup, and I just need a little advice.
All right, I got a couple things. First off, tell me, what's the rocky part? What do you mean rocky?
So in order to become a home birth midwife in New York State, which is where I live, and a bunch of other states, you have to go to nursing school and become an RN. And I've never been super called to the allopathic way of medicine or birth. And so in order to do that, I've had to agree and learn a bunch of procedures in a way that I don't feel is right. And I just don't know if I can do that for another 3 years. So.
Okay. So, all right. Number one, something I know about you already, you have a very strong intuition, right?
Yeah.
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 And so what's happening to you, you're kind of like, well, it's a very similar situation. So you're going through school and you're going, yeah, this whole school path, the way they're going down, this doesn't line up.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going, like your intuition's going, something's off track. Now, unfortunately, you don't really know the right track, but you feel like something's off track. Now, I don't know if it's happening to you, but it would happen to many. What they would do is they'd start second guessing themselves. And it sounds like you're second guessing yourself.
Yeah, I definitely.
Okay. You're not second guessing yourself. Okay. Your false self is causing you to second guess your authentic self. You're going, this is what I want to do. This is what's on my heart and mind. This is my passion. But then this whole path that you're on to get to where you want to go, like the road you're going down, as you said, it's a rocky road. You don't like the road you're going down to get to where you want to go. And then you're doubting yourself.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question and tell me the truth. When you said you don't really know what you're supposed to do, you do know what you're supposed to do, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is that?
It's delivering babies into the world.
Delivering baby.
Any way to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. How about you just make up your mind, you're going to do what you want to do, and you're going to find out a way to do it the way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It feels right. I can just like you said, my intuition is really, really strong, but that doesn't mean that I can always accept it and follow it all the time super simply without any stops on the road. And I feel like this is just one of them. I've been here before and pushed through. So I really think
Right.
I can keep pushing through because it is what I was meant to do, I think.
Well, you actually, let me change that. You're changing mine a little bit. So my job on the show is to change your perspective and create a turning point where I get you looking in a different direction. Okay? Because the only reason that you're feeling the way you're feeling, you're asking the questions you're asking, you're having the doubts you're having, is because you have a certain perspective. You have biases. You have a viewpoint, and most of the viewpoints that you have, you inherited when you were growing up. You've inherited the education system you're now feeling like you're kind of stuck in, because that is the way it's laid out. It wasn't always that way.
Mm-hmm.
The current system of education to get you where you want to go, it wasn't always that way. It was made up. Somebody made that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to change your mind. I want you to go, I can follow my intuition 100% of the time. And that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's more risky? Is it more risky to not follow your intuition and kind of go off on the wrong path because, of what others might think or the mistakes you might make? Is that a greater risk? Or is it better for you to follow your intuition and make mistakes down that path? You're going to make mistakes either way. That's how you learn. What's the best path to go down, and what are the best mistakes to make? The one coming from your heart, your intuition, or the one coming from logic and ego and what everybody else says you should do?
Heart, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. How old are you?
21.
All right. And are you living with Mike?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I live on my own.
Okay, good. That's cool.
Yeah.
More young people should live on their own.
I agree.
Well, why don't you go to a different state?
I've been thinking about it, for sure.
You've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
What have you been thinking about?
I've been thinking about going to a state where home birth is more accepted and where there are more opportunities for me to learn from the type of teachers that I want to learn from, not necessarily be placed in a hospital and learn under the same kind of practices that will probably never change.
Yeah. Let me ask another question. Do you understand when I say your authentic self versus your false self? Do you understand the difference?
I think in my heart I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you would in your heart because you're intuitive. You know the truth and you can sense it and feel it. So really quite simply is when you were a little baby, okay, your authentic self, you're made in God's image, you arrive here and your mind is perfect. It operates on an intellectual level, on a spiritual level, on a vibrational level, on an intuitive level, okay? It's perfect. But then you start getting parented and you go to school and teachers start teaching you stuff and you start operating from your intellect. That's the way we're taught to operate from, okay? And you get handed all these rules, values, beliefs. This is the way things work. And a lot of that stuff doesn't really fit you, doesn't suit you. And so this false self gets created, or what we call ego.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the authentic self, right? So if you could go back and tell all your parents and family and friends and teachers, go, I'd like you to raise me this way because this is who I am, then you'd be living authentically. Do you get that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got false self or ego, and we got authentic self. All right. So the part of you that's been thinking about going to another state, okay, is that the ego self causing you to think about it, or is that the authentic self causing you to think about it? Which one's causing you to put off the very idea that your authentic self came up with?
Probably the ego, right?
Yeah.
Telling me I can't move because of certain things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fears.
So, yeah, fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So what's your greatest fear?
Probably being away from my family and my sister for sure.
Yeah. And that's one thing that the sooner you work on, where you get yourself to a point where your cup is filled yourself, with yourself, by yourself, then you don't rely on the emotional connection of others. I'm not saying you want to not have an emotional connection or a spiritual connection, but you don't need it. And it doesn't hold you back.
That makes sense.
Because the cool thing is, if you make that kind of a move, that, listen, you're going to make the move anyway, Kat. I'm just telling you, that's what you're going to do. Okay. You're not going to go off on some tangent. You're very strong. You got a beautiful energy about you. You're very intuitive. You got a big heart, and you're not one to give up.
No,
you're. Yeah, some people might call you stubborn, but you're not stubborn at all. You just
Are you a psychic?
I am. I'm not. But you're very committed to yourself. Like the good news here is your connection to your authentic self is really strong. But there's this outside stuff and relationship stuff and what people think, and it's all the outside stuff that likes to pick away at what you know to be true. Now you're 21, you can go anywhere you like.
Yeah.
When you do this, you're going to gain so much power and confidence, and then you're going to go, I'm on the right path, and it fills you up. You want your cup filled up. Just keep sticking to being yourself, and you'll discover you already are full. Okay.
Thank you.
What's that?
Thank you.
What do you think of all that?
It just makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And why do you think it makes a lot of sense?
Because it's coming from the authentic heart space.
Which means it must be what?
True.
True.
The right thing to
exactly. Do. And that's how you know. That's how you always know the truth. Yeah. And what's cool about what you're doing right now, so you're helping a lot of people right now, Kat, a lot. I don't know how people are on here right now, and I don't know how people are going to watch the recording, but you are leading people right now, and there's people going, oh, I wish I could do what Kat's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you that you came on here, and
thanks for talking.
I would just keep getting your pen out, and I would keep reinforcing in writing what you already know to be true. And so the key is just follow the feeling. And if it feels good, that's the truth. That's the path to follow.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you got to remember something too. I want to teach you one little thing for everybody here. There's a thing called the law of opposites. Do you understand what that is?
No.
Okay. So most people don't know them at this stage. I didn't really know them until 6 or 7 years ago. But there are universal laws that govern this universe. Okay. Some you're familiar with. You're familiar with this one. Okay. That doesn't fall down, it falls up. Okay. Well, there's a law called the law of opposites. And anytime a positive shows up, a positive idea, a positive thought, a positive desire, whatever you want to do, by law, the negative has to show up. Okay. It has to occupy the same space. Okay. Think of a magnet. You wouldn't have a magnet without a negative polarity and a positive polarity.
Right.
A battery wouldn't work unless it had a positive pole and a negative pole. All right. But the law of for a left, there has to be a right. For an up, there has to be a down. So when you start thinking positively what you want, just pay attention. By law, the negative is going to show up. And then you run the risk of entertaining the negative thoughts.
Yeah, I always do. And then a lot of the time that's what changes my mind.
Exactly. Well, that's not what changed your mind. Let me tell you what changed your mind. Okay. Here's what happens. And this is how freaking simple it is. Okay. The whole creation of your fear is caused by one simple thing: indecision. Okay. So you get an idea from your heart. Okay. And you go, I should move to another state. That's what I could do. I can go to another state and I can do this my way. But then you don't decide to do it. The idea comes to you through your intuition. You know, sometimes you get those ideas, you get a little bit of a buzz,
Mm-hmm.
you get a vibe. Okay, that's the universe and God talking to you. They're going, Kat, hey, Kat, you should move to another state. You could do it your own way, right? It's like, hey, Kat. But then what you do is you go, let me think about it. Now, the beautiful thing about God is he gives you free will. You can do whatever you want. He's not going to judge you if you don't follow the idea he gave you. And the universe just sits back and goes, we'll do whatever you want, Kat. Just let us know what you want to do. And so you don't decide to do it. And so what indecision does is when you start to think about it, it creates doubt. Okay? And the more you think about it, your intellect, your reasoning mind takes over. It hijacks your heart and your intuition and your soul, and it starts making shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you put it off, the more doubt you create, and they blend together to become fear, and you're stuck. Mm-hmm. So the magic pill is called decision. When you get an idea, check the feeling, mm-hmm. and if it feels good, act on it right away. Just do something, one thing. Call somebody, email somebody, go online, fill out a form, get a hold of a school, just act. That's it. And there's no more to it. Like when I finally understood fear, mm-hmm. I was able to really frickin' lighten up,
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, it's just I'm so indecisive, and that's like a character flaw that I struggle with. But when I do hear something in my mind and I just go do it, like it can be so simple, like, oh, like I should call this friend right now, and then I don't do it, and then a week later I hear like they were going through the hardest time they've gone through in years that day, But then when I follow it, it always leads to like, oh yeah, like this was supposed to happen,
Hey,
that makes sense.
I'm going to change your wording, okay?
Okay.
Because I want you to pay attention. Your words are thoughts, okay? Mm-hmm. Your indecision is not a character flaw, okay? Your indecision was a parenting flaw, okay? Your parents didn't teach you to make decisions on your own early enough. Mm-hmm. And through school and teachers and everybody around you, you learned to ask people for their opinion. And you go, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Right? You learn to do that. It's not a character flaw. It's just a habit you picked up from others. So get rid of that idea. It's not a character flaw. Mm-hmm. Just change your mind right now. Go, you know what? I like to swear. Fuck that. I'm decisive. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start following my heart. I'm going to start acting on my intuition. So what I want you to do, Kat, this is where I started. I want you to start practicing your intuition, using it. When you think of somebody, I want you to phone them or text them right away.
Okay.
And just go, hey, Doug, I was just thinking about you. Actually, I'm just testing my intuition. Were you thinking about me? And just test it with that. And watch what happens.
Okay.
Okay? Listen, if I can help you in any way, I'd love to talk to you again.
Yeah, totally. You've helped a lot. You have no clue. So thank you.
Yeah, well, listen, you see how simple it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I've discovered. Everyone else who
has a question should totally do it. Awesome.
Well, we got time. We got 10 minutes. I want to leave you with this. The cool thing about you being 21 is your mind is way more open than the masses because you haven't had, so many experiences and things that you've been through and mistakes you've made that has jaded your point of view. You're still fairly open. Mm-hmm. Okay? And everything I'm saying is dead simple and common sense. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What we like to do is we go, it's got to be more complicated. So here's what I discovered. I learned that all this stuff I'm trying to get across to people, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's not complex. If you understand it, it must be true. And so just act from that perspective. It doesn't have to be any more difficult than this.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to talk to Mike and check back up on you. But if you want to reach out or talk, I'd love to talk to you.
Totally. Thank you so much.
All right, cool. Good to have you on.
Bye.
Well, that was cool, Tyson.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to say is everyone in the chat, can we just give a big congratulations for Kat coming on the show?
Let's give Kat some love.
Yeah, give some love. And here I'm gonna put the chat on the screen so everyone can see everyone. But can everybody just say just give her some good luck and send her some nice vibes towards her way and give her some good luck. I love that.
That's cool. That's cool.
Huh. So, but yeah, that was amazing, Doug. I love that.
She's cool. Man, oh man, I like her.
Yeah. So brave that she came on and really asked the questions. And I really loved her room. Her room was really cool. Just really nice.
I wonder where she's going to move.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, look at all that love. Wow. It's so nice that everyone here on Christmas Eve just be here and cheering each other on. It's a nice community feeling.
Yeah, it is. All right. Did we had somebody send in Lisa wrote in. I don't know if she's here or not. Well, you know who you are, Lisa. You wrote me an email off my website. I don't know if she's here or not. If she wanted to, well, she is here. I can see her in the chat. I wonder if she'd come on.
Yeah, Lisa, would you like to come on?
If not, then I'll just deal with what she wrote. Come on, Lisa. You'll help a lot of people, including yourself.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put the link in the chat just so it's easy to find real quickly.
All right. Is there anybody else that want to come on, or we're gonna take a couple more questions this way?
I would assume maybe we just take the question from Lisa.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of paraphrase a little bit here.
Okay.
I'd love to have you on, Lisa, or somebody in the same situation as you. There's a lot of people in the same situation as Lisa. Mm-hmm. And so she writes, I've caused my kids great pain because of my lousy parenting. So first off, we're going to sort that shit out. That's bullshit. They're now adults, and I see dysfunction play out in their life. I'm witness to all of their stuff that they inherited from me. They hold a lot of blame. I've forgiven myself. No, you haven't, actually. Because if you had forgiven yourself, then you wouldn't say you were a lousy parent. So we got to change the dialogue up here, number one. Difficult to move forward. I have a grandson. I want this cycle to stop. What is the best way to move forward? Well, undoubtedly, Lisa, I'm going to presume, like most, you have a story that you would have experienced, and you would have learned some things. And like all of us, you just inherited and adopted rules, values, and beliefs that were handed to you by your parents and your grandparents and teachers, et cetera, people that were influencing your life. And it would have definitely had an impact on your ability to parent. I always say, I don't think people should be able to have kids without a license and some training. Now, I did. I didn't have training. I have a license. Luckily for me, Eden did arrive under the circumstance she did because she's a real gift. But I was really worried that I was really going to screw it up because of where I'd come from and where I'd been, And so number one is you got to let yourself off the hook. So I said true forgiveness is forgetting. So Lisa, I can tell just by your question, you've spent a lot of time in the past. And your current family, your kids, as adults now, they probably like to take you to the past. Okay. We've been taught to live our life looking backwards. We go to the past, and we recall. You're doing it right now. It's Christmas Eve, and you might be sitting around with your family, your friends, and you're going to be bringing up memories from the past. You go, remember back then, and I brought up a memory from 2016. Now, I only bring up memories now that I recall information that can help me or help others to go forward. And I don't have any negative viewpoint on the past. And what I figured, number one, I figured if God forgave me and I am forgiven, then I should probably forgive myself because, I'm a hell of a lot less important and powerful than God. So I figured if he forgives me, I should probably forgive myself. I should probably follow that lead. And so I think the first thing that you need to do is work on forgiving yourself. Now, you probably don't know how to do that, and we can talk about that. And if you want to come on another show, it'd be a great topic. Actually, we probably should do a whole show on just forgiving ourselves because that's one of the biggest problems. Number two, now you may not like this, and this would be difficult for a lot of people. I would really face the conflict. One of the best things that you can do, learn to do, is face conflict, because we're not good with conflict. We're afraid of what people are going to say, or what they're going to do, or how they're going to react, or how they're going to feel, or how they're going to treat us after the fact. The best thing you can do is face conflict. So if I were you, I would do what I did. I sat down and I had a number of very serious, honest, heart-to-heart conversations with my daughter. And now she's 17. It started when she was 18, 17. She was 12, I guess, 12 going on 13. And we had some very serious conversations. A lot of apologies. I learned to apologize. But one of the things I said to her, I was very clear. And I said, listen, Eden, and I still tell her this today. I said, I don't care what you think about me. I'm a good man. I'm a good father. I'm not the best father, but I've got a good heart, and I'm a good man, and I'm doing my best. And I'll continue to do my best and to make my best better. But I don't care what you think about me. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you love me. Now, do I want you to love me? I love you. I'll always love you. I'll always have your back. I'll always be here for you. But I am not going to spend the rest of my life worrying about what you think about me. And that's the other thing that that I would do. And I would have those conversations with them. Now, you're going to have to decide first. You're going to have to make a decision.
Just 1 second, Doug.
Yeah.
Lisa's actually in the green room if you want to talk to her.
All right. Oh, cool. Well, let's talk to her.
Yeah. Okay.
We might go a little bit long here, but what the hell? I'm not going anywhere. It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to bring
Hello,
her on
Lisa.
right now.
Hi.
Hi.
Congratulations. You're on the turning point. You're now famous.
Hey, believe me, this was hard coming on. I haven't showered. I'm gross, but I thought, what the hell?
Lisa, I'm in my pajamas.
Are you? Oh, good. Me
Yeah. Hey, isn't it cool? I wonder if Oprah or Dr. Phil started out wearing pajamas on television their first time, but I'm in my pajamas. I got my Christmas pajamas on. Look. There you go. All right. Were you listening to what I just said?
I did. You're a little cutting in and out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I have done that. I've sat down with all three of them, and I was very candid.
Yep.
Heartfelt, apologize for the pain. I do know intellectually, they inherited a lot of my paradigms, and it's generational. I had shitty parenting and so on and so on. But when my grandson was born, I thought, it has to stop. I don't want him inheriting the same shit, and I just want it to stop, right? However, my one daughter, she keeps throwing shit in my face, and she uses my grandson as a pawn. So I always feel like I have to walk on eggshells, so not to disrupt the cart. You know what I mean?
Right. How old's your daughter?
25.
All right. Consider this, okay? She's a kid. She's young. She's got a 3-year-old. Your responsibility for your daughter ended a long time ago. Okay, you're not responsible for your daughter. At this stage in her life, you're responsible to her, and all your and for her means that you're supposed to do things for her. You're not. She's 25. She's an adult. She's got a kid. You're not responsible for anything for her anymore whatsoever. Nothing. You're responsible to her to just become a better version of yourself, and that's it. That's the only responsibility, is for you to become better. Not for her, for you. Okay, there's a difference between for and to. And I remember Bob said when I left my marriage, my daughter was really mad. She was very angry. She was very hurt. And I would talk to my mentor, Bob Proctor, about her, and he'd say, Doug, he said, you're a good man. and you're following the truth. You're finally following the truth, acting on the truth, telling the truth, and the truth is going to set you free. And he said, don't worry, she'll come back. I don't know when she'll come back, but you keep doing what you're doing, and you keep being yourself, and you keep putting out good and doing good, and she'll come back. And so that's what I would do. I would let her go. I would say, you know what? I need to let you go. Now, you might not like it. This might cause you pain. I run the risk I might lose you for a long, long time. But I think the one thing you owe it to yourself is you got to be yourself, and you got to live your life your way and do what you want to do. This is your life. You're done. You raised her, you're done, and that's it. Now, how does that feel?
It feels great, and I feel like intellectually it's just in trying to feel it.
Okay, well, here's where you're stuck. Okay, it's the same as Kat. All right. So intellectually, logically, you get it. Intellectually, logically, you know you need to forgive yourself. Like, you get it on an intellectual level, but you're not making any friggin' decisions. You're procrastinating on some important decisions. You need to sit down, and this is a perfect time of year. I would sit down and I do this all the time. I will make a list of decisions that I need to make, and I make up a new credo. I make up rules. These are the rules I'm going to live my life by, and I do it all the time. I mean, every few months sometimes. I just keep rejigging my personal rules and credo and how I'm going to live and not worry about what other people think or how I should live. And so I get your pen out, and I'd like to talk to you after the show sometime, maybe the next couple of days. I'd like you to make some decisions. Can you do that?
I'm hearing the connection's really, it's not good. I'm really straining to hear you. It's really, I got the gist of it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's you're a little faint.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Lisa, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't we, I've got your email. Why don't we chat offline? Tyson, do you hear that? Tyson, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can't hear you.
Yeah, Doug, I can hear you.
It's so fuzzy.
Okay.
He is coming in and out. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's we got to wrap up. Let Lisa know that I'll talk to her offline here.
okay.
And I'll help her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give her a quick message right now. Okay.
Okay. Cool. You want to just bring me back on here and put Lisa back in the green room?
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
And you can chat with her there. Let me just wrap up. It's 9:04. I usually want to keep this to an hour. I want to thank Kat and Lisa for coming on like that. And we want to do more of this. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can actually write in ahead, and we can have a chat, and we can bring you on. I've got a few guests lined up for the new year. Next year, well, almost next year. Next Thursday is New Year's Eve, and we're going to be here again. And I'm going to be talking about this bullshit thing called resolutions, because resolutions don't work. There's a great quote. It said, of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is going to keep them? In other words, what's the point of making resolutions if the same person that's making them isn't going to keep them? And I'm going to talk to you about how you can change your mind and create a turning point in really, making some changes in your life the way you want to make them, where it actually sticks. It's not a resolution that you don't stick to. So anyway, I want to thank all of you for watching, coming on Christmas Eve and If you're watching the recording, thank you. Share this if you don't mind. If you like this, share the show. Come back, and we'd love to see you again. And I'm really just enjoying this a lot. And I want to thank you, Tyson, for hosting. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yes, of course. I would like to say Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and I hope you guys are safe. I know there is a little bit of a snow storm going through, so especially if you're in the GTA and a little bit lower near Kitchener-Waterloo. But I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas from me and Doug.
Merry Christmas, Tyson. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful night. Watch that movie, Son of God.
Son of God.
Son of God. I'm going to watch it right now.